Hey, what's going on everyone? Vasco here and welcome back to the channel. And did you know that Formula 1 is going to introduce some balance of performance rules with regards to aerodynamics and that some of them are actually in effect right now? Well, if not, then stay tuned. I'm going to pass to long-haired Vasco to explain you the rest. So, in other forms of motorsport, you may have heard of success ballast, and this is a way of balance of performance. So, bringing the cars closer together in performance, and this is a thing that I really don't like in other motorsports because success ballast is literally what it sounds like. If you win, you get more weight in your car. So let's say that I won the last race, I get 80 more kilos in my car, which will immediately add 1 second to my time or a bit less, but you get the point. And it's a way of punishing drivers that are doing well and punishing the teams that are doing well in order for us not to end with a situation where an overpowered car wins every single race of the season. And the thing that I don't like about this is that for me, this kind of motorsport competition are as much a driving competition as an engineering competition. And the engineer in me doesn't want to be punished by something that he did well. So let's say that you are Mercedes and you designed the best car for years on end. There's really no sense in putting weight in that car in order to slow it down, and it's kind of a bad way to slow a car down because it can throw off the balance. And I really don't like to see teams punished by one good result or two good results and being punished for the rest of the season or the coming seasons. And I don't think that this is the way to go, but Formula 1 recently introduced a new aerodynamic sliding scale that I think will fix most of their issues, and I think it's a very, very, very well thought out implementation of balance of performance. So if you didn't know, Formula 1 teams use the wind tunnel, which is basically a giant fan where they can put a model of the car, a size model of the car, and test new aerodynamic surfaces with tools like lasers, smoke, etc. And you can see actually a very good video, I will link it in a card here, of the 2022 car being tested for aerodynamic in the wind tunnel. And another thing that Formula 1 teams also use is computational fluid dynamics, or CFD, and this is basically a computer version of the wind tunnel, and this is where they get most of their data. By doing so, they can use computational power rather than needing an expensive wind tunnel in order to get aerodynamic results. So for the wind tunnel, you need to actually produce a scale model of your part. Most teams by now use a 50 to 60% model, so you need to actually produce a part. So teams usually start designing the part in CAD, then studying it with computational fluid dynamics, and if it works in the computational fluid dynamics, it gets to the wind tunnel, and if it works in the wind tunnel, it generally goes to the car. Now that you know that teams use this, Formula 1 is introducing a new sliding scale based on the team's championship performance, where they get removed wind tunnel time and computational fluid dynamics time according to their success in a given season. I think that this makes a lot more sense because if you manage a team like Mercedes and a team like Williams, well, Mercedes just won a lot of championships, so they probably have a very good idea of how their Aero package works, of how the current regulations works, whilst Williams really doesn't. So it makes sense that if you want to bring the team together, you take time away from the team that knows the most and give it to the team that knows the least. And I think that this can really bring teams together in a way that just putting weights on the car really doesn't. This way the engineering continues to be as precise as possible, there's just a time restraint. So now let's go to the computer so that I can actually explain this better to you. Let's go. So just like last time, I made an Excel sheet trying to illustrate this better. So in the Excel sheet you can see the position of each team, and I'm not going to put team names here for now, let's talk about that later. And I'm going to put the 2021 aerodynamic balance of performance and the 22 to 2025 aerodynamic balance of performance. If you want to learn more, I will leave links in the description for the websites where I visited in order to learn this myself, so you can learn this better. And you can see that by this diagram that the amount of testing of aerodynamic testing allowed will change from 2021 to 2022, and it will stay the same from 2022 to 2025. This is because teams this year will need more time to develop the 2022 car because it will be a new regulation. They really want to introduce this system in full force, so that's what they are going to do. And you can see that previously teams would be allowed 65 runs or on the wind tunnel per week. And one run is about 0.25 hours, so 15 minutes. So they would be able to use the wind tunnel 65 times for about 15 minutes each week. So this was the previous baseline. And in 2021, this baseline was actually reduced to 40 runs, and that will amount to 100% of the wind tunnel testing time available. So you can see that the team in 5th place will get the full 40 runs, 40 times 15 minutes, whilst the team in 1st place will actually only get 36 runs. And you can see that for the 2022 regulations, this difference will be a lot more dramatic. And what this means is that the team that was in 1st place at the end of 2020, which was Mercedes, got allowed 36 runs of 15 minutes each, whilst the team that finished in 2nd place is allowed 92.5% of the wind tunnel time, which is 37 runs, so just one more run. And you can see that in 2021, each team is allowed one more run than the previous, and if a new team is to enter the championship, they are allowed the same as the 10th place. But I think that if a new team enters the sport, the team in 10th place will actually complain, and we will add another layer of balance of performance. Now, something very interesting to talk about this year's regulations is that there will be a reset on June the 30th, or there was a reset on June the 30th. And what this means is that Mercedes won the championship last year, so they were the team that was subjected to the 36 runs per week. But when it comes to June the 30th, Red Bull was on first in the championship. So what that means is that they swap. So now Red Bull is only allowed 36 runs per week, whilst Mercedes is allowed 37. This is a really important thing for this year's championship, because Mercedes and Red Bull are in a really tight battle. And you can see here that the championship position is actually Red Bull first. And what this means is that Red Bull will get one less run than Mercedes for the rest of the season. And if this carries through to 2022, if Red Bull wins the championship, they will have a lot less of development time. And what this means is that now Mercedes can put the 36 hours into their 2022 car and get an extra run for the 2021 car, for example, whilst Red Bull will have to adjust their development times in order to match the Mercedes and not be behind for the 2022 development. And I think that with this just one run per week difference, I think that this will not make a big difference for each team, because if you look at it, the top 3, top 4 teams have a lot less time than, for instance, Williams will have. But a team like Mercedes has a much more effective aerodynamic simulation and wind tunnel than Williams, so things will kind of balance out. But now let's look at 2022. And in 2022, you can see that instead of a 90 to 112.5 difference, we will have a 70 to 115 difference. Now, this is a very, very great difference, and this will have an impact on aerodynamic development, especially with the new cars. So you can see that for the 5th place, now we have a new baseline of just 36 runs. So 36 times 0.25. And this is a lot less than the 40. This is actually the same as the team in 1st place currently has. But the team in 3rd place will actually lose a lot of hours. They will lose from 36 down to 28, and you can see that the difference now increases by a factor of 2 runs per week per team. And this will be able to give an advantage to a team like Williams or Haas that's in 10th, because they will have almost double the wind tunnel time than a team like Mercedes or Red Bull. And this is very significant because they will be able to develop their car much more than these teams. And this will play a lot into the strength of each team, especially the top teams, not to fall behind with less aerodynamic development. And especially when you look at here the budget cap, you can see that a team like Mercedes before could put all their money into the wind tunnel and develop a new wind tunnel, develop new technologies, new programs, and spend a lot of money that a team like Haas didn't have, so they could make up for this time with the investment and the quality of the wind tunnel. But now that the budget cap will be in place, if a team like Haas or Williams are able to meet the 140 million US dollar budget cap in 2022, they will have 44 hours compared to, for instance, Mercedes' 30. So this will be a big difference when you take into account that they can now only spend the same money and there will be no money advantage for any of the teams unless they had a prior better wind tunnel before this regulation of the budget cap came into place. You can see that there will be a big difference in aerodynamic time, and I think that there will be the same difference when it comes to CFD. So teams that finish in front of others will be allowed less CFD time, and this will make a big difference into the development time of cars. And if you get less time, you have to risk a lot more of your budget in order to make a part appear on track, and it might not work. And this will be a big risk for the top running teams, and I expect this to make a real big difference in 2022 to 2025. And actually it may already be making a difference because teams need to split their resources between the two seasons, 2021 and 22. So for the championship, this can actually have an impact. So this is why I think that these rules are actually very well made, because instead of punishing a team just for doing well, they are testing a team's ability to stay on top with diminished resources. So they are taking away resources to a team and seeing if the team can still do well. And if they still do well, then they get the same resources and will keep doing well. But if a team isn't able to do well in the middle of the season, there will be a reset and it will be adjusted for championship positions, so they have the ability to claw back. And this will end up equalizing the team, because if a team just wants to brute force their way through the wind tunnel runs and aero development, they will end up going up in the championship, but then once the reset hits and the time gets cut, they will actually go down. So I think that this will be a very good way to balance the performance and not getting such a dominant team advantage such as Mercedes had. And this, combined with the budget cap, can bring really good long-term gains for Formula 1 in general, and can make the sport much more fun to watch. So those are my opinions on the new aerodynamic sliding scale, and I hope you guys understand it better now. We might already see the first effects of this after the summer break because of the reset that happened on June the 30th. So this has really been it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this technical video. I really enjoyed making it. I really like this kind of talking to Excel videos. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate every single one of you that's been subscribing over the last couple of weeks. It's really been motivating me to make better videos. So that's been it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!